IT Insights, 5 questions to tech and business leaders.
Hi, welcome to another episode of IT Insights series, 5 questions. I'm Eva Banaś, and today my guest is Jukka Holm, Managing Director of Visma Enterprise Oy and Board Chair of Visma Public Oy. Jukka also holds a board member role in Visma Enterprise Latvia and Acubiz in Denmark. Together, we will discuss the transition process from MD to board member, as well as Jukka's approach to implementing strategic changes in companies. Jukka, great to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Could you tell us a bit more about your professional background to what I just said?
Yeah. Well, before I joined IT industry, I was doing kind of laborings, delivering beers to the stores, and everything that students do normally. But then I decided to go for IT. That was my hobby when I was a child. We had computers at home. We liked playing with those. So I joined this kind of startup when I was studying computer science. It was a 3-person startup, and we were doing IT services for other companies, and it was some kind of good times to be in that industry when it was 2003, 2004, because the market was growing fast.
Oh, definitely.
So quite fast I see that I had to learn and lead a team, because I had a first team to lead in when I was 25, 24, something like that. So I had to learn leadership and that kind of aspects. So I think that was my biggest school to IT business and leadership when I got to do things in a young age. So we built that company to around 100 persons, and we sold it to a telephone company when we were around 50, but we kept on growing the business when even the ownership was changed. So I've been on both sides of the table as an entrepreneur and also nowadays as a buyer. At Visma, we buy more companies. That's my story in a really nutshell. Yeah.
Okay. Quite inspiring, actually. Thank you for sharing. Let's start with the questions. The first one is a bit like a warm-up. What would you be doing professionally if you weren't a managing director of Visma Enterprise Oy?
So that's a good question. I always keep on mind on what I am doing at the moment, but my friends who are following me on Instagram, they always think that I should open a pizzeria because I love doing pizza. But
really?
maybe that's not a good business. I don't know, but it would be fun. But to be serious, I think I love being in software industry. It's a good business to be. I think for decades to come, there are a lot of things to do, and we can really create value for the society. Everything is going to be digitalized in a way, and there's still a long way ahead. So I could be in a similar position in another companies doing software, but also I might even start my own company and do some software solution.
That's always a good way to learn even more.
Yeah, if you find your own company, then you have to do a lot of things. But I think I've done my share of mistakes so far. Yeah.
Definitely. But I like the pizza plan as well.
Yeah, everybody needs food, so it's a kind of
Exactly. And everyone loves pizza. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Considering your experience, what advice would you give to someone managing high-performance tech company?
Yeah, if you think you already have some kind of business, that you have product and a growing business, you're kind of over the startup phase, but you have product and customers and growing business. But I think at that point, really important is kind of make sure that you cultivate the culture, create that kind of environment where people can really excel and really make things to happen. That's super important. It sounds simple, but it's not that simple in reality. So you need to have a kind of mindset of growth and ambitious goals. That's kind of the easy part in many cases. You have ambition and you can set goals. But at the same time, you should have that kind of environment that people have high trust and they can be open and everybody can comment between the employees and the management. So that should be kind of loyalty and we are honest about the problems we face and we can share the difficulties. So we need to have the ambition and the goals, but we also need to have the trust and openness. So that kind of is really, really important. And when that's in place, I think the second thing is, of course, the ability to find future talents and leaders and actually giving them enough room to operate in that environment. I think if you get those right, you are in a long way already there.
Yeah, definitely. Putting a person in the center, like this people first approach, is always a good way to start thinking about any business, actually.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the kind of the other side. Of course, you need to have a good service to offer. You need to be in the right market at the right time and the good service. So you need to both. Of course, need the people who make that happen.
Definitely. It's all about the people after all. Without them, there would be no services, so to speak.
Yeah, and sometimes if you have a small company, one new idea, one new perspective, one new kind of talent could make the big change for your company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. You also mentioned this experience of growing a free people company into 100 employees company. What are the lessons learned from that experience, and especially looking at the mistakes that occurred on the way?
Yeah, I think because we were young, we had the ambition. We want to conquer the whole world. I think we tried to do a bit too many things at the same time. So that actually might even slow you down if you try to put your resources to too many things, to have too many products, to too many services, and focus on too many areas. So I think that was one mistake. And also, we went through a transition from a kind of professional services business where we sold more kind of hours and projects to this kind of recurring SaaS model, and it's totally complete business. So we should have invested a lot more time productizing the service and really focusing what is the customer pain points that we are trying to solve, and not do too many things, and not the old way of doing selling projects and only consulting. It's not going to work if you really want to scale up. So I think my key learning was that if you really want to be in a scale up business, that you want to grow fast, you need to have that focus and productize that.
And the key to do that is actually understanding your customers.
You need to understand your current customers and your future customers, and what are their actual pain points, and what are those pain points that they're really willing to pay to be solved. Yeah.
What they're willing to pay
Yeah.
for.
So it's easy to find different kind of problems, but finding the right ones to solve it's really important.
That's a very good way to put it, definitely. And what are the challenges you had to face in order to become a board professional apart from being an MD? It is a transitional phase for you now, so I'm curious, what are your experiences here?
Yeah, this is a new phase. I started at Visma. I started my first board position 2 years ago, and last year I had, I think, 2 board positions. And actually today I have 4 chair positions and 2 board positions. So I actually have almost full-time job of helping new companies in the growth. So I'm trying to learn that quite fast right now.
I think you have to.
Yeah, yeah. But first, I have to say that because I'm involved in really small companies, like 15 employees, and also bigger ones with 250 employees, so it's a bit different, both the MD position and the chair position. If you're talking about really small company and a larger company, I would say being an MD in a larger company like Visma Enterprise, it's a bit closer to being a chair when compared to small company chair position. You have a talented, experienced leaders who actually take care of the operations mostly. So you stay a bit more away from the daily things. But when you are involved as a chair in a small company, the issues on the table for the board are quite daily things, and the MDs might need help in various things, and that's just natural because they have small team and they don't have all the competencies. So in many cases you have to be the bridge builder, because I have a network and I know who knows things, and who what kind of benchmark company could be good fit for them, and it's that kind of help. But I think the biggest thing, if I just compare the MD and chair, as a chair, you simply cannot go and do anything operational by yourself. It's okay to meet employees and meet customers, but you cannot go and design anything yourself, or cannot go fix anything. You just need to stay and be kind of behind the management team and MD and give all the trust and help for them. As MD, you're still kind of responsible of the daily operations, and it's okay for you always if there's some fire going on that you also participate on that. But as a chair, you have to be a bit more distant, and so it's a still big difference.
And was it difficult for you to take this step back and not interfere in operational doings, but
It is as an MD, I always try to build a company where I would not be needed. So I try to build a team that takes care.
that's a good approach.
Yeah. So that I think that's the key of creating a growth business, because you are growing so fast. You need a new, experienced and talented people around you, and they want to take their responsibility. And so the MD should not be involved in micromanaging things. And so the MD can actually focus on acquisitions or overseeing things and be where needed in that way, but not micromanaging of the daily operations. So in a way, I'm trying to do that in the MD role, but still, I think the board role is a bit more analytical and a bit more. You have to also be more focused on the numbers and what is going on in the market. So it's a bit distant compared to MD, but still I'm surprised that it's not that big difference than I thought beforehand. I was kind of skeptical that I will not want to be a board professional. I just want to have a profession because I love doing things myself also in a way. But it's also dependent on yourself. How do you want to make the role and what kind of team you are building? It's also the board is a team, and you need different people in the team and different perspectives and diversity. So, and same goes with the MD and management team. So you have to be yourself. You cannot be anybody else. Pretend to be something else.
And what you've just said also circles back to, surrounding yourself with the right talent, with the right leaders who can also lead the company in the right direction. So it seems like it is all connected.
It should not be one person show at any time.
Definitely, yes. And you also have a vast experience in managing strategic changes. What is your approach to making them, because they do affect the future of companies?
Yeah, I think we discuss a lot of things about. We discuss. You can read things about the operational side, customer experience, and having employee-centric leadership, but making the right kind of decisions in what business you are and what timing and the service and the customers. It's a big decision of deciding what markets to serve and what markets not to serve. So I think having a process on that, on a strategy that you decide who are you going to serve in the future. I think that is super important, and all and the board should be involved in that discussion and giving value for the discussion also. I know some companies I have in my portfolio that they have focused, for example, for next year, they have the target for 13 new customers, but they're growing with those 13 new customers, they're growing from 2 million to 4 million. So 100% growth and really profitable growth from 2 million euros to 4 million euros just by acquiring those certain specific customers in their segment. But that has taken a lot of work from them because they used to try to acquire customers from various segments and they were not growing, not profitable. Now they actually found their niche and they're really nailing it, and now they're really growing in that market. But it's about finding those areas where you can really be the market one.
That's a very nice observation to share with the audience, to look for the niche for yourself, not to go for everything every time.
Because entrepreneurs typically they have really high passion and they are kind of really in love with their own product and they feel that it's fit for everyone.
That's a trap,
yeah. But they should decide who gets served and who not. So that's really important if you really want to grow and scale the business profitable.
Thank you for this insights. Jukka, it was great to talk to you and thank you for sharing all the stories with us today.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you, our audience, for listening to this episode of IT Insights. See you next time.
IT Insights 5 questions to tech and business leaders. Visit us at itinsights.tech and dive into our podcasts, webinars, and events.